All right, guys, the double entry journal is a research tool that you guys are going to be using each week. You will also use it for all of your major essays and also for the debate. It's the most useful research tool out there that I have found, and here's an example of one um, that another student made in a previous semester. I abbreviate the double entry journal with the terms DEJ. So if you hear me saying DEJ, this is what I'm talking about. It's essentially a table that has quotes on the left and notes on the right. The quotes and notes, as you can see here on the left side, quotes and citations. Citation would be the full MLA citation, and the notes, analysis, and questions go on the right-hand side. The MLA citation, um, you should have one for each new source that you find. You are only required to find one source for your weekly argument writings. Your essays will need more than one source, but for those weekly writings, just one is fine unless you happen to want to find more. That's certainly okay. You also have to have an in-text citation. Get in the habit of automatically putting the author's name after every single quote you copy. This is going to help prevent accidental plagiarism. Usually the in-text citation is the author's last name. If you happen to be quoting an article that does not have an author, then you use a shortened form of the article title in quotation marks. You should have a new row for every source. Now, the notes section should show evidence of deep thinking and annotating. You can annotate, annotate just means taking notes. You can do it using boldface, italics, highlights, changing the color of the fonts. Whatever works for you works for me. You got to be just as creative as you need to. As you'll see in this example, with the first red arrow here, I wrote in normal market times they would have been bankrupt, talking about the what's been going on with the economic downfall. But then their employers would have been out of work too. This source ignores this fact and only focuses on CEOs losing their jobs. So think critically about the articles that you read. You can kind of use this right column to talk back to the author of whoever you wrote before, almost like you're arguing with them. Think critically about it. Don't just assume that everything that you read is the way it is. The right column is your place to shine. It's your place to say what it is that that you want to say. Why do I have students do a DEJ? Because it is a great tool to store the sources that you find meaningful, the quotes that you think you might use for your essays, and it helps you record your thoughts and interact with the text. Having all of your information in one place will help you develop your own ideas for writing. When I went back to school to get my master's degree, I did not know how to keep track of all 50 tabs that were open on my computer as I was writing my first essay. So I did some research myself to find out in this new internet age how is research handled. What are some ways to do that? The double entry journal was the simplest and I've found to be the most effective tool, and that's why I share it with my classes and require it for weekly writings, because in order to write well about a subject, you have to actually have something to write about. The impact of the double entry journal. Students go on to use them in other classes. I have lots of students that email me after the fact or even during the class and said, hey, I used the DEJ for my biology class, or I used the DEJ in my history class today, or for philosophy. It is also a useful study tool for textbook chapters, and annotating and writing the notes enhances critical thinking. A well-researched double entry journal gives students the ingredients that they need to write. Just so you know, you're going to make a double entry journal every week in this course, either for your argument readings or for your major essays. If you have any questions about the double entry journal, here is how you can find me.